Hi, Clemens, and thank you for having time for me.
Hi, thank you too.
So this is the first day of this tour, and I hope you enjoyed your Christmas holidays, but you celebrated Christmas a kind of different as other people do. I heard your concert on Christmas Eve made it in the national TV.
Yes, that was really surprising. I just came back from Mexico and I landed one day in Holland and all the commotion started, which was really awesome for us because it was free publicity. And then the first week we had radio and television interviews, then for 2 weeks it was quiet, and then the whole thing started up again just before the concert. And so yeah, finally we were famous in Holland. And yeah, it was an amazing show because a lot of people showed up, and I didn't have much of holidays for the rest because we have recorded a new album and it has been super crazy. So this is more holiday now for me, sitting here and having dinner before the show.
Did the chairman of the Christian party ever talk to you like face to face?
No, not at all. That was what surprised me because they said some really nasty things, you know. And they never contacted us directly. They went to the media straight and they had like a big discussion with the venue where we played. Like they wanted to forbid it and they wanted to stop their funding, and it was crazy. And no one ever called us like, hey, what's up and can you explain what you're doing? And that's why we fiercely discussed this in the interviews too. Like, you know, this is nonsense, ridiculous. And I saw their latest response. And they had this guy and their arguments about that black magic, and it looked like a comedy show to me. It was a bit sad, you know, like. Oh.
So in contrast to this party, all your fans realized and know what your music is really about. So every album of Carach Angren tells its own story. How and why did you choose those stories?
Well, when we started like 12 years ago, it was a completely new thing that we were doing. We had a new band, and from the very first demo I was like, you know, we want to do something different, and we found a very nice horror story because we were all into this. For me, you know, because I compose a lot, it was like a really good thing to hang the music on. Like there was like a narrative, so it was like about chaseful tragedy, and it was like, okay, you have an opening, you have events happening, and it's really easy to compose music to that. And for some reason that worked really well and sticked with us. And with every release we try to become better at it, so now it's the only thing we can do and want to do, because it's nice also to do single songs. I do it for some other project. For Carach it's like, okay, what's the next big chapter we're gonna do, what's the next story, you know? And so we love to do that, yeah.
How can I imagine a writing process of an album?
Well, usually we have rough ideas, like maybe we want to do something with Fairytales for the last one example, or we want to do with the Phantom Ship. And I usually start writing, you know, with all the orchestra stuff, with computer drums. So I do the basic song structures. And then the other guys implement ideas, and that's how it develops, you know. And I mean, the latest we did, it's massive. It's a massive beast, and everything is working together. We have a story, we're working on a video, everything will work together. I have to keep it a bit abstract because I want to surprise everyone, but yeah.
Do you have any influences?
This is always funny. I mean, probably I'm influenced, but I'm not really aware of what influences me, because, you know, I like horror movies, I like metal bands, a couple, not too many. I like classical music, soundtracks. And probably that influences me, but how and what I cannot really say, you know. Yeah. But what I really like in art is when there is an emotional transition, you know, when something hits you, and it can be dark, but it can also be something that is romantic or sad, or that's what we try to do in our music too. Like in, for example, the latest video, When Crows Take On Wings, is really sad part there. It's really epic. Anyway, people say like, yeah, but it's metal, it should be all aggressive. I don't agree. I like to tell stories and have different atmospheres in the music. I think it's more interesting. So.
How did you personally get into the metal scene?
I was not at all into metal at all until I was 14, and I got like a friend, and he showed me some CDs, even of Korn and stuff like that. And I remember then once I borrowed a little cassette from one of my friends, and it was Korn, and it said on the back, "Cradle of Filled Socks," and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" So then I got really into that, and it was like a world opening up for me. Like, you can even implement keyboards into metal. I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, I have to be guitar player or drummer, and I was a keyboardist, so I thought like, yeah, there's not much I can do unless only hitting the drums on the keys. That's what I did. So then it opened up this whole new world for me, and yeah.
So you just said there's a new album in the making.
Yeah.
What is it about? Could you tell us a little bit, or aren't you allowed to?
Yeah, it's gonna be more melodic again. The last one was really aggressive, dark, and it was a friend of mine said, like, is it gonna be terror again? I said, no, this one is not gonna be terror, but it's gonna be more small stories again, combined in a big story, like we did before. And I'm really, really enthusiastic about it. I can't wait to release it, but I'm gonna keep it a bit more secret because we wanna build it up, and unfortunately.
Okay, we are all looking forward to it, really. So I'm afraid we're at the end of our interview. Is there anything you want to add, you want to say to your fans?
Yes, thanks for the interview, and we are really happy to finally be back in Europe, and we can't wait to meet all of you out there, and we hope we have a great time, but I'm sure we will, so keep it up.